Love listening to the Blue Monday podcast? Well, your support is very much appreciated, and for as long as we're producing this podcast, we'll never charge you to listen to us. But if you do want to join others in supporting us financially, you can do just that via the Acast supporters feature. It's up to you how much or how little you want to give, and there is no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description. The money you donate may or may not be put towards Joe Fair's football shirt collection. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello and welcome to the Blue Monday podcast, now in our 6th season, looking into the exciting happenings of Ipswich Town Football Club every week on video and audio. I'm Richard Woodward, and in the week where Luke Chambers made the top 10 list of all-time ITFC appearance makers, joining me is Blue Monday podcast all-time appearance maker David Diamond, and hoping to make it into the top 6 or 7 maybe, Seb Brown. Evening to Seb. That was polite kind of digging there. You know.
Yeah, it's only banter.
It's only banter. How are you, Seb? You are kind of
good, thank you.
You're the wrong side of the border, aren't you? We were having a bit of a chat in the green room beforehand.
I am, yeah, by about a quarter of a mile. I am subject to the Welsh lockdown rules. So the government has said what I can and can't buy from Tesco's, and we have to abide by this for the next 14 days or so.
And you can't leave the area either, can you? Or you? Yeah.
So I can go to work. I can go to work, but that's it. You can't leave your house. It's like April again. All the shops are closed.
Yeah.
And Tesco's is back to queuing a little bit outside and stuff. So
wow,
you've got it all to come, guys. Look forward to it.
Yeah, exactly right. Dave, how are you? Are you stocking up on all kinds of nice products in Tesco that you don't need?
Not at the moment, not yet. But I think it won't be far off, will it? I don't think it'll be far off, to be fair. But no, not yet. Fortunately, no. Trying to avoid Tesco's at the best of times, to be fair.
But doing all right now, yeah.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We got plenty of.
I think it might be the first time I've been on with Seb. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah,
really? Yeah, there you go.
Fairly, sort of unique evening, and also I think that appearance making is a bit of a red herring because don't forget I did it for like 3 years with just me and Ben, so you know I think a little bit of a red herring there, but yeah, hey, you know.
Hold that thought though, eh? Because we'll talk about making appearances later on, and we won't be making casting aspersions on either of you guys, depending on what your answer is. Bits and pieces of news. I mean, we've had shed loads of questions on the old Twitter, so I think we'll give them plenty of time, and Lincoln plenty of fallout from Lincoln. I'll do a little bit of a plug for our friends in the academy and women's team sponsorship team at Port Monroe's. They're doing this thing called Game of Two Halves, which started on Saturday, where effectively they're asking people to sign up to this challenge during October, where you can walk or run for either 45 minutes or a full 90 minutes, and you have 14 days to kind of complete that kind of 45 or 90 minute chunk. So you can do it in bits and pieces if you want to, or you can do the whole thing. And as part of that, they want people to sign up to the challenge, but also make a donation as part of doing that for the academy or the women's team. So it's a £5, I think, to do 45 minutes and a tenner to do 90 minutes at least. So yeah, if I've signed up to that, I will be doing my walking in lieu of being able to walk to work, which is my only exercise really, apart from the odd golf round with Dave Diamond. Yeah, get involved in that.
Hang on, that was about 3 months ago.
That was, yeah. Well, that's what I mean. So I've not.
So you're now sorry to change the subject slightly. You're now working from the office, are you again?
No. I'm still working from home. So that's why I don't get the walk.
Up and downstairs.
That's basically it. Yeah. So I used to walk to work, a good 2 miles to work. Pretty.
Oh, I see.
And now because I'm not in the office, I've lost that walk. So
see where you're going.
So I'm making up for it and donating to the academy at the same time. So there's all kind of stuff online. There's photos if you want to send those in. There'll be a few competitions as well as a prize pack and stuff like that. So yeah, get involved. All the details I think somewhere on the website, or tweet the ITFC. I was going to say the academy Twitter, but there isn't one. But contact ITFC to find out more. So there's a plug. Let's move on. News then, guys. And I mentioned it in my intro. This has caused quite a bit of debate, and I don't know why. So I'm going to get an opinion from both of you, because every man and his dog online has been given their views on this one, and you should be no different. Luke Chambers, as of Saturday, clocked up 345 league appearances to put him as the bona fide top 10 appearance maker. There are obviously some big names in there, not least Mick Mills. I'll tell you the adjacent company that he has just above. But I guess my question for you, and we'll start with Seb, is your view of this milestone. Is Luke Chambers a club legend? Is he a loyal servant? Is he fortunate? Is he an imposter? We've kind of had everything on the spectrum there.
Yeah.
I mean, what's your view, Steph? Come on.
I mean, you don't play that many games by being fortunate, do you? Let's be honest.
Probably unfortunate if you're playing for Ipswich. Sorry, keep going.
I am a Chambers fan. I think it's a great accolade. I'm really pleased to see him in there. The interview he did the other day when he was saying, I want and I need some success with Ipswich, I don't think many fans would really begrudge him that. Let's be honest. If he were to lift the League One trophy at the end of the season, albeit in an empty Portman Road, at least it would be some sort of legacy would be left behind. For me, a lot of people blame him because his 345 appearances have coincided with a steady downturn in the club, but you can't really blame him for the issues that have gone on. He didn't recruit the ones 3 years ago. He didn't insist on the football that McCarthy played that turned the fans against him. So for me, I think it's well deserved. I'm a Luke Chambers fan. Obviously, I've not seen many of that list. Dave can obviously educate us better in that aspect. But well done to him. He's a great captain, great presence to have around the place, and I think we will miss him when he's gone.
Dave?
Yeah, I think I'd agree with most of that. I mean, I personally perhaps written him off, like many. And I've got to say, this season, filling in obviously at right back, he's been one of our best players, no doubt about that. You can't fault the guy's loyalty. You can't fault the guy's professionalism. He's 35, still doing it. Like I said, at right back. So which probably means he's had to be far more athletic than he ever was at centre half. Obviously looks after himself. Like I said, the ultimate professional. Cares deeply for the club. I think that comes through. And I think obviously got the respect of all the players as captain. Look, I amongst many had written him off, but this season I think he's proved me wrong. And as Seb says, it's not his fault. He's made all these appearances in probably one of the most depressing eras ever for the football club, but so be it. And it's just a mark again for him and his professionalism. And just think of the rest of the squad he's played with during that time, the injuries that's been around the squad during that time. Yes, he has had time out with injuries, but obviously he comes back well. He obviously looks after himself. He prepares well, and off he goes again with another incredible run of games. So I'll be interested to know who he's knocked off 10th. Do you know that?
It was Jimmy Ledbetter.
Okay.
Title winner.
Okay, so yeah, I mean a proper legend. I mean, does this mean now he's top 10? Is this, or is he in already? I guess he's not. Does this mean automatic inclusion into the, dare I say it, people out there are going to shout me down, Hall of Fame?
I don't know. I don't know how the rules work. I mean, the thing that I as always with me, I can't. I'm getting better at it over time. I can't help get involved in a few Twitter spats on Friday about it because I think people misunderstood what this milestone represents. This does not represent that Luke Chambers is the top 10 gifted footballer to play for Ipswich. This is the top 10 people who have played the most games, been the most loyal, provided the most loyal service and professionalism, as you guys have said. What
is probably interesting in the would certainly Ledbetter you referred to, and the rest of that top 10. I bet I assume, just trying to think who will be in that list, the rest of the top 10 at some point have played for Ipswich in the Premier League or Division 1.
Yeah.
I assume.
And I guess it's not Chambers' fault. And, he said that in his quotes. I've got some quotes here. For me personally, it's huge to be up there with some big hitters in the history of the club, albeit not in the same illustrious circumstances. It's still something they can't take away from me, even though Twitter will try. I feel I've given really good service to the club, and it wasn't something I ever envisaged when I signed. I'm never going to be at the level of some of the lads at the top, but that's just the way football is these days. The history of the club is fantastic, and to be involved in that is a great feeling. yeah, so I'm similar sentiments to both of you guys. I think Chamber gets a bad rap for some reason as well. I think possibly, as Seb has alluded to, maybe there's some hangover from the Mick era, and people pointed the finger of blame at him. And even when the Hurst era was kind of going down the toilet, I think people wanted to point the finger of blame at the more experienced players at the club then as well. Go on, Seb.
And to be fair, he always sticks his head, doesn't he, above the parapet. Whenever we have a bad defeat or a manager goes, it's always him or Scoose that are wheeled out to do press and do interviews and stuff. So he does kind of stick his head out about to be shot at every now and again as well, which isn't necessarily his fault. It's just the fact he's the captain and he has to do it.
Yeah, he's putting up youth players in his house and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. So I salute you, Luke Chambers. And here are the people that you need to beat to get further up the list.
Here we go.
Tell us all about these guys. I think we know one of these.
How many appearances will take him up to ninth then? Who's next?
So according to our good friend, the Renegade Statman, whose stats these are, 356 is his next milestone. And that was one Doug Rees. Who played 356 games and scored one goal, and I think he might have been a forward. I think I might have read that. So, different things for different needs. Maybe I got that one wrong. Maybe he wasn't.
I'm sure he didn't play in the top division. I don't think he ever played in the top division.
He's 48 to 59 that he played. I need to look him up as we go because I might have slandered him there.
I think Diaries. I think he might have been Ipswich's first ever full international player.
He's Welsh. Let me.
I think he was.
I've got his wiki up here. Here we go. Doesn't say what position he was, and he's Welsh. He was an inside forward. There you go. I don't know what that means.
Head of his time.
Left midfield, left or right midfield.
There you go. So he's more of a creator than a scorer. That's fine. Yeah. We all bring different things to the party, Doug. That's fine. Number 8, 394 games. One George Burley. There's a right back for you, hey?
Yeah.
Number 7 has 396. I mean, tell me when you think Chambers might kind of max out here. I've only got a couple more.
Chambers is where now?
He's on 345. Okay. So let's say he plays the rest of the season without serious injuries.
Yeah.
So he's getting up to. He's certainly getting to number 9, isn't he? 394 for Burley.
Yeah.
It's been maybe a bit of a stretch. We're into next season, I think.
Yeah.
Almost certainly. But then 7th is only two games.
You're not factoring in our run to the FA Cup quarter final, right?
I think these are league.
Oh, sorry.
I think these might be league. Stat will correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
If he's listening, hi Stat. But yeah, only two appearances different to 7th, and that's John Ellsworthy. Another one from the late 40s through to the 49 to 65, Dave.
Yeah.
And number 6. So this is possibly the stretch. 409 games for Billy Baxter. There's a name
that's too
for
much,
you.
surely, isn't it? He'll struggle to get to there. But...
He'll struggle to get to 400. Yeah.
So he's got to do another 50 to get to Burley. Has he roughly 50 odd?
Yeah.
It's doable, isn't it? I mean, we've got. Yeah, that's definitely doable.
Yeah, you got how many games he played? 8. So.
Yeah, so he's got another 38 this year, 36 this year. Yeah, it's doable.
Yeah. Well, good luck to you, Chamber. I think that's the team. At least this part of the Blue Monday team salute you and wish you all the best in. And in
Mills
the next
league appearances. Mills is how many?
So Mick Mills 591 games in the league, I think.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
22 goals, decent.
Yeah.
Walkie 539, not too far away.
Yeah.
And then Mickey Stockwell makes up the top 3, 506.
Wow.
Good on Mickey Stockwell. It's the on this day as well, when we record this, which is the Sunday before the pod goes out on the Monday, the anniversary of his mazy run goal against Wimbledon in the Premier League.
Wow, yeah.
Remember that?
Crikey.
Nice
one.
Yeah, well, there you go. I'll leave you thinking about Mick Stockwell going kind of all George Weah against Wimbledon, the old crazy gang, as I bring you right up to date for Ipswich Town versus Lincoln City in the 3rd division. Bit of context going into this one, guys. Lincoln, same record actually as Ipswich going into the match, 5 wins, 1 draw, 1 league defeat, and therefore only 1 league position different, and that's because of 1 less goal difference. 1 less goal in the goal difference. Michael Appleton in charge, appointed last September, 42 games under his tenure, 42.9% win ratio, guys. That's impressive. I've always quite liked Michael Appleton. I thought he was one of the people that I wanted us to go for when we went for Lambert, but no such luck. And Lambert's win ratio, by the way, in his Ipswich tenure so far, I think is about 31%. Just so you're aware, just for context. But small sample for Appleton. Last league visit, Seb. Do you remember all about this? The visit to.
I do. We are improving. Yeah, it was a 5-3, wasn't it? And the highlight was that new road layout at Cambridge. That was the highlight of our day.
Oh, we saved 15 minutes on our journey, Dave, by doing the new bit of the A14. That was the highlight.
Oh, you were both, because that was over Christmas. You were both back here, I suppose.
Those are the days, Seb, leaving the county.
Leaving the house,
But actually, we did beat them in the FA Cup in the November just before that. But the game that everyone remembers, guys, the 17th of January 2017 1-0 FA Cup defeat on the telly. I mean, there is still a stink around the club of since that moment. As that have we really got? Is that, I kind of feel there's a Lincoln hoodoo which stretches back to that. Am I reading too much into it? Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, do you know what I always thought? I know you've done this, Rich. I always thought that was perhaps Mick McCarthy's sliding doors moment. That one. Yeah.
I agree. He should have gone after that. Anyway, Lincoln, unlike us, didn't get beat 4-1 in the week. They beat Plymouth 2-0. And going into this match, 4 changes by Lambert and 2 changes by Appleton. Let me just take you quickly through the Lincoln team and then I'll get your thoughts on Ipswich. It's a 4-3-3, and I just wanted to mention a couple of bits and pieces of ex-ITFC news. Teo Aiden lines up at left back. He was a January transfer window signing for them earlier in the year. He's in there. They've got TJ Yoma, who's on loan from Spurs. They've got Liam Bridcut, a name familiar to some of you guys, presumably ex-Brighton, Sunderland, Leeds, Forest. He's the captain for them in the middle of their midfield. George Grant, we know all about him. But lining up front, Seb Brown, is one Brennan Johnson.
Way to make you feel old, eh?
The son of your favourite ever Ipswich player, is it?
Indeed, yeah, my favourite ever Ipswich player, yeah. And he was a handful, wasn't he? He was good, to be fair.
He was quick, he was good, and on the bench, nothing exciting. So moving on to Ipswich, guys, there are 4 changes, as I've mentioned. Were either of you, Dave, were you expecting those to be in goal and at centre-back? Because that's not where they were.
No, I thought he would stick. I mean, he said pretty much straight after the game and right through the rest of the week that he was going to really stick by Holy and Enciala. And fine. I didn't really have a major problem with that. If it's the same this coming Tuesday evening, I might have a problem with that. But no, I didn't have a problem with that. And looking at the rest of the changes, great to see Lancaster come back in and get a start, albeit at the expense of Judge, who, let's face it, wasn't that effective at Doncaster, but I think he's got some sort of calving or some sort of minor niggle that didn't risk him yesterday. And obviously, Ward back for Kenlock speaks for itself. I think we have missed him. Good to see him back. Who else was there? Bishop Hawkins is back in for Sears and Bishop in for Hughes. Personally, well, as the game plays out, I'd have liked to have seen Hughes in there, but perhaps for somebody else. But look, that's hindsight, wonderful thing.
Seb, happy with that team as well?
Yeah, it looked quite nice and balanced, didn't it? Ward coming back in obviously gives a bit of experience back to the back line. Kenlock did reasonably okay, but I don't think anyone would say he's at the same level as Ward. And I liked Lancaster and Edwards on the opposite wings. They were sort of both playing as inverted wingers, so it looked nice and balanced. And I did like the look of the lineup.
Yeah, I was very happy to see Jack Lancaster come back in.
Yeah.
We'll go through. I just want to talk of some of the specific moments in this match, but clearly the kind of last 20 minutes is when everything kind of kicks off, literally. So I'll get your thoughts on that. I thought Lincoln, no surprises, better team. Probably in the first half. Grant's got 2 chances before 10 minutes to make it 2-0, really, isn't he? Cool. Just wide at the far post. And then the volley that kind of deflects off NCR and loops onto the kind of cross/bar. What is Dazelle playing out there, by the way, guys?
Well, I assume he's trying to find Chambers, isn't he? He's trying to hook it with his left foot over the guy to find Chambers in space on the in the right back position, but he gets nowhere near enough power or height on it. It was a bit of a crazy attempt, wasn't it?
But he was in fourth goal, or was it fourth goal against Donny? He's mucking around with possession in his own box. Of all the players that need a bit of a Clip
To
round
be
the air
fair
for
to
that.
him, he gets a call from Chambers, but yeah, it just doesn't. He gets it all wrong. And I've got to say, a really good block by Enciala actually, just to get something on that, because that was going in, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And I think I thought that Johnson was quite lively first half. He slipped Enciala, didn't he, and just dragged one past.
Yeah.
I was listening to, I think, until you put me right, Rich, I was listening to so I'm watching it with the, I always call it the away commentary, the home commentary, which is BBC Radio Lincolnshire. Christ knows who these people were, I don't know. The summarised was someone called Tomo. All right, Tomo. Something like that. Bloody Ipswich, they're so predictable. And they were just laughing at us, absolutely laughing at us. It was almost embarrassing. They're saying, they're just passing for the sake of passing. And every time we'd have a 20-pass move with a ball not really touching any of our front players and then ending up passing back to our NCR and Holy for a big launch. They were just taking a piss. They were just laughing at us, honestly.
Did you hear the famous quote that I think is going around? Ipswich attack like an asthmatic snail. Did you hear that?
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, they were saying similar. And to be fair, you're looking at it, right? Really, it was almost passing for passing sake at some points. And they were lively first half. I mean, they played some good stuff. They had some good athletic players, really some good stuff, some quick. But I like to look at that Anderson, wide right. He looked really good. And Bridcut's always a class act in midfield. I always like Bridcut, just neat and tied in it, and really ran the midfield. I thought, really makes them tick, doesn't he? I thought they were a pretty decent side first half.
Yeah, and you mentioned Johnson's chance here. I mean, that's the kind of pace that we expect from his dad, Seb, isn't it? Really unlucky that I think did Holy get a boot on that?
He gets a foot. Yeah, Holy gets a foot to it because it was a given for a corner, so it was quite a decent save. He just dropped the shoulder, didn't he? And NCR couldn't get anywhere near him. Obviously does it later in the game, but yeah, he just burst past him with the old afterburners on, and thankfully Holy got a foot to that one.
The Lincoln commentary loved that one. Absolutely loved it.
That was a good chance, that one. I mean, for Ipswich, there's a shot for Edwards. This is a good routine here, which we tried a couple of times. I'm surprised we tried it again. But deep corner by Dazelle to Hawkins.
Great corner, great header.
What a header.
What a great header, looping it back across to far post.
Really unusual. To be fair, if you shut your eyes, the Lincoln commentary, typical home commentary, unlike Brenner Woolley on it for us. If you close your eyes, you thought we were playing Barcelona, seriously. But they said it's very unusual that Lincoln keep anyone on the line. So, I mean, typical. It happened to be then, But, great routine there.
Into the second half, and I thought Town started it much the better, actually. Similar to kind of the first 20 minutes against Doncaster. You talked about the possession, Dave, but there's a little bit more intent to it. And 55, this is the moment, isn't it? The kind of the sliding doors moment, to keep using that. 55 Ward is bundled over right on the edge of the penalty area, isn't it? It's not too far away from being a penalty shout. And Lancaster is taking this free kick, Dave, and Edwards is the man who's... Does it hit him? Does he head it?
Well, I don't know. You probably wanted that to be Hawkins' thing, but what a great delivery! Absolutely brilliant delivery.
Lots of pace
a lot. That and Dazelle's corner for Hawkins that we just described. I thought again our deliveries are a bit airy fairy a bit yesterday, but that was a great delivery, almost too good. It just came whether he expected it, reacted to it. I have seen Edwards, it's great what he said. I've seen him score headed goals before, but he just sort of got it all wrong from literally 2 or 3 yards out, wasn't he?
It's one of those. It's the ball's coming at him so quick that he just can't adjust, can he? But
because I was screaming out when he took the kick. You thought, this is a right-footed kick. Put it right in there, but brilliant delivery, and just one of those unfortunate, really. Yeah, and I don't think we can dig him out for that because he's finishing so far this season. It's been brilliant, hasn't it?
You don't pick Edwards for his aerial ability either, do you?
No.
But this is when it all kind of goes wrong, guys, and I think it's an Ipswich counter-attack that is the kind of starting point to this. There's certainly a chance for Edwards, I think, just in the minute before. And then this is a counter-attack down our right-hand side between Chambers and Bishop. And, well, I'll tell you what Lambert thinks about this in a bit. But Bishop is knocked over twice, isn't he? Lincoln win the ball back. And it's a rapid break, isn't it, guys? It's Aiden and Johnson combining. And it's a lovely move, Seb, isn't it? It's a flick round the corner.
Yeah, well worked move, wasn't it? And once Johnson got goal side of NCR, we all sort of got worried to see what was going to happen. He tries to stay strong, he gets into the box, he's leaning into him a couple of times, and then stupidly, the angle is narrowing so much, Johnson hasn't got that much to do. But NCR gives him that one last shove, and it's that action that obviously causes the referee to give the penalty. Was it a soft penalty? Yes. But for me, it was a foul and it was a penalty. He's arguing with the referee, but it's that he goes at him twice, leans into him. Johnson stays on his feet. It's the third one. It's much more obvious the way he's doing it, and it's a silly boy.
Is it soft? I'm pretty adamant it's a penalty.
It's a penalty, but I think it's a soft one. David Ben used to have their gradings of penalties. For me, it's not a stone waller. I think it's a relatively soft one, but it's a definite foul.
I think you mentioned this kind of shove. I think Enciala just gets a little shove in there to me, but Dave, are you going to dig out Enciala?
He doesn't need to make the challenge.
Yeah.
Seb's right. By the time where the ball is, he doesn't need to make that challenge. This is the thing. All right, he's Johnson's close to the byline and he's trying to not let him cut the ball back, but really, does he have to make that challenge there? You sort of see him. It's not a stone wall, but there's contact there, and he's leaning on him, and he goes down, doesn't he?
He's almost done the hard work, hasn't he, by forcing him to the byline and sort of being strong in the first place. It's just that last second of a really.
Do you know what? And do you know what? Just stuck it for me last night. I watched the EFL and I watched it all. And I watched the Norwich game, and I know they're in a different league, and I shouldn't moan, I shouldn't compare, but I think this is just not typical of the two clubs. Did you see the Wickham penalty that wasn't given? And did you see Ranch's free kick?
I saw the free kick.
The foul on, for God's sake, But anyway, look, and it sums up Enciala, really. If it was going to happen to anyone, and Seb's right. As soon as Johnson sets off and Enciala's in pursuit and he reaches into our box, you think, this is not good. Yeah.
And
really, when you think about it, okay, other than Johnson turning him in the first half, did they really get round us that much? Probably not, actually. But
no. Well,
the other thing, the other one, which would have really been the one, was before then when Holy kicks it clear, and then makes a hell of a save, really redeems it. That would have put the top out. If that goes in, I think, my God, but he does redeem himself.
He does. Grant dispatches the penalty with quite a lot of confidence, low and into the corner. And we've kind of seen this before, guys. We kind of concede the goal and a bit of huffing and puffing, but at that point, we haven't got enough about us to really get back into it. Bennett comes on. But there's nothing. It
was a very late change, wasn't it? Was it 80 minutes, 81 minutes? Very late change.
We've got questions on that, so don't hold that thought, Seb.
Okay.
I just want to finish with this sending off for Nolan, which to me is just bloody stupid, isn't it? I mean, this is the red mist has descended, and what's worse is it's dangerous as well. There's no defending it for me. So to see Lambert come out afterwards, and I'll give you his quotes in a sec. But are we united that this is a absolute red card? There's no debate about it.
He's lost it. Red mist. He's lost it. He had a poor game. Nolan regressed to the last season. Nolan, didn't he? Totally yesterday. So frustrating. Frustrating. And to see, to hear, the manager the manager didn't cover himself in. Well, carry on. Go on.
Lambert sent off at full time as well for his post-mortem with the referee. I can give you some credit. I think, to be fair, Lambert is less defending the red card, though he has said, I won't be taking any disciplinary action with him because the occasion and the frustration boiled over, and there's only one person that caused that, and that is the referee. And this is what Lambert said about the referee. I've never seen anything like that in a game of football in all my time. I think whoever is head of referees, he knows who the head of referees is, by the way, should look at that, but they walk away no issues. There were two clear fouls on Teddy Bishop.
Didn't he say something about, there was a funny comment on the forum where he said he gets in his car and walks away.
Yeah.
And sometimes someone posted Fred Flintstone. Did you see that?
He gets in his nice car and he drives away. Yeah. I mean, so Lambert
walks away. Oh, that's brilliant.
Lambert's a bit annoyed about the fouls on Teddy Bishop. Has he got a point? There was a couple of bites at Bishop, wasn't there?
Do you know what? I'll tell you what the foul should have been. Dizelle should have taken out Eden on the halfway line. He should have gone right through him. That was it. Took one for the team, but he didn't. He got out-muscled, which someone actually touched upon yesterday. There was a couple of times where there were certain challenges in midfield where Dizelle actually was strong and actually came away with a ball a couple of times.
Yeah.
I think one of us touched on that. But the one occasion where perhaps he should have, there was no real, it wasn't near the edge of our box, but in hindsight where he could have gone through the man and basically stopped that move dead, unfortunately didn't. And they were brilliant at that. They were brilliant at stopping that. When we did break the lines and that, they were very, very cute. And that's what I think frustrated the manager more than anything.
Yeah.
And also not knowing the drop ball rule. That was a bit odd, wasn't it? My God, the hell was that about?
I think Craig
just born out of frustration.
Craig corrected us on that one. I can't remember what he said though. Didn't the ball bounce or something and it's not allowed to? I can't remember.
Well, the ball didn't bounce. I can't remember.
I can't even remember. Asked if he regretted the words which earned him a late red card. The Blues boss said no, because what I said was true. We get criticised for a lot of things, so should they. I'll be phoning Mike Jones. You see, he does know who the head of the referees is, because that was unacceptable. It was the usual from them at the end. An absolute sign of arrogance. So Nolan out for 3 games, might be more. And Lambert, I don't know what the deal is with Lambert. But not a great end to not a great afternoon. And I guess before we get on to the questions, guys, the question I have for you is, were we unlucky? Were we naive? Or were we just not good enough? And does it feel like we're kind of back to where we were this time last year with 2 defeats on the bounce, just as context? 20th of October to Accrington, 23rd to Rotherham, 2 defeats in a row. We did go on to beat Southend and Rochdale in our next matches. But yesterday or Saturday did feel like a bit of last
for me,
season.
this could have been last year all over again. Pedestrian in midfield, playing it safe, backwards and sideways, and just apart from the set pieces, we created virtually nothing from open play. There was one ball through, wasn't there, from Lancaster through to Edwards, who couldn't get his shot off. Lovely ball through, but he couldn't get his shot off. But apart from that, we just didn't threaten, did we? Let's be honest, it was last year all over again.
Shots on target, 2 for us, 4 for them. Big chances, 4 for them, 1 for us. Shots inside the box, 7 for them, 2 for us. Dave, was it a 4-5-1 yesterday rather than a 4-3-3?
It looked it, didn't it? We were just so predictable, and you could predict it. Again, it is also predictable. You could predict almost the result, and second half. This is quite a tight game. The last 2 seasons, even seasons before that. When are we winning? We never win these tight games. Never really get anything out of these tight games. On the back of the 4-1 defeat during the week. 0-0 draw, going away to Lincoln. Yeah, good. Clean sheet. Let's move on. But you know at some point, and whether it is NCR or not, you just know something's going to give, and it always seems to. I don't know. It always seems. And for all you said, were we unlucky? Not really, because we didn't create anything. We didn't create anything. They should have been 2 up at half time, maybe 3.
Yep. So we're not buying into Lambert's that we were playing incredible stuff.
Oh God, well. Yeah, all very pretty as a Lincoln, Radio Link's commentary said. All very pretty and lovely in our own half, and they're happy to let us play that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, but I'm not buying it, mate. I don't buy that at all.
63% possession. That's the only stat that Lambert cares about.
The stats do lie, don't they?
Let's let me do some questions. I mean, we need to start with this. This is the most pertinent one, and Craig and I dealt with it to an extent on Tuesday when we lost to Doncaster, but a lot of people are kind of asking this. Jamie Trott, I'll kind of try and combine 2 questions if I can. I'll start with this first half of it. Out of the current top 6, I can tell you who they are. Who will be the first team we beat? And can we get promoted if we don't beat a top 6 team all season? The answer's got to be no, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Of course we can't.
We've got Sunderland in a few weeks. I think that's our next one. The top 6 at the moment is Lincoln. No. Next, then Peterborough, Hull, Pompey, Sunderland, and then let's say Doncaster, because if you take us out, Charlton are in there as well.
I was thinking about this. And sort of thinking back 20 years to our last, promotion, and you think, where do we get on against the teams around us that year? Well, bloody hell, Charlton we beat twice. Charlton we beat twice. Barnsley we beat 3 times, counting the playoffs. Bolton we certainly might have lost away, but certainly won at home. We were beating all those teams. We must have been terrible against teams outside of the top 6, for Christ's sake. But you need to, because you need to take points off these teams. You really do. And mate, I can't. Well, I mean, next, who's coming up next out of that? Sunderland away in about three games time. Can't see it.
And we got Hull as well, haven't we? We got Hull in end of November as well. So we've got 2 chances, but I can't see it. Can't see it at all.
Seb, Craig asked, of the Blue Monday podcast, last season's inability to beat the better teams in the league is happening again, albeit the sample size again is quite small. He asks, is it a mental block? Do we now go into these matches already doubting our chances winning them.
I don't think we're good enough.
Yeah,
I think it's a
agreed.
mental block. I don't think we're good enough.
Yeah, exactly the same. You know, I mean, against the lower league ones, you've got Nolan running the show and stuff, but against the bigger boys, the bit of now, somebody like a Glenn Whelan in midfield or a Bridcut yesterday. Yeah,
exactly.
We're not good enough.
Needed some more physicality. I mean, I'm not just saying this because of what happened to Nolan in hindsight. I thought we needed a bit more physicality in there yesterday, and I'd like to have seen Hughes in there. All right, Hughes hasn't exactly been pulling up trees this season, but just for his sheer physicality, I'd have liked to have seen him in there yesterday.
Yeah, we looked lightweight, didn't we? Overrun too many times.
The trouble is we've got experience, but it's in fullback, isn't it? It's the fullback position. We need I remember the relegations. You know, the post-relegation pods, Dave. We talked about we need more physical presence, certainly up front, but we needed a hard bastard, didn't we, in the middle of midfield?
Well, you need a Bridcut. What a player he'd be for us. You know, and you know, Skews has been again, I've been critical of him, but he's been a great player for us. A bit like Chambers, a great servant. You got to say his time with us is now probably, you know, operate what he's got go through or that knee operation, hasn't he? He's probably, you'd think, finished with us. You'd almost finish your hope, because if he's our only hope to come back in midfield, then we really will be struggling. No disrespect to him, but we lack that just bit of nous and that little bit of physicality and presence, like a Bridcut, you're quite right, or a Whelan, somewhere that we really miss that.
Someone streetwise, that's what we mean.
Well, streetwise, exactly. That's a good word, actually.
Andrew here at Run Fatboy Run. Today proved how much we are missing Downs.
Sorry,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would he have made a difference yesterday?
Drive. Yeah, that bite, that drive, that physicality. He gets stuck in. He doesn't let opposition players bully him. No. He'd have made the world of difference yesterday.
Yeah, he would have done.
Andrew also asks about the lack of, alludes to it. Let me read his tweet out. Did like Lancaster and Edwards on the wings. Could we see Alan Judge in the middle, or more likely Hughes? Now we've got a Nolan-shaped hole there for 3 matches.
I think Hughes has to come in for me, just for his, like Dave said, his physicality, a bit of experience. For me, Judge does tend to go wandering a little bit. I know he'd have 2 players alongside him in the centre of the park, but I would be worried if he suddenly went for a wander against somebody like a Sunderland with a bit of experience, and we could be carved open quite easily. So for me, it'd be Hughes coming in, a bit of physicality, bit of presence, and that's what I'd do.
Could you put Ward there, guys?
Possibly.
I mean, he's clearly a class above, isn't he? But given his influence, and Kenlock hasn't been terrible, down with faint praise.
No, he hasn't.
He hasn't.
Kenlock's just. I think Kenlock is just an easy target, really, just because of his style. You know, his running gait, whatever they call it. Do you know what I mean? I think he is, but he hasn't been horrific. He hasn't been too bad.
No, I'm just thinking that. It's like the kind of Callum Connolly situation where he's such a good player that you can play him anywhere, and having Ward in the middle of the park, communication.
Would he have the legs, but wouldn't necessarily have the legs if he's got the know-how? Then
he just
fine.
sits.
If
he just sits,
almost like thinking back to 2004 Kevin Horlock or something like that. Exactly the same, probably.
It won't happen.
I remember in the Arsenal first leg at home, we played Mark Kennedy as sort of the deeper of the midfield options, and he was absolutely superb. So I think if players are at that certain level for a certain amount of time, they could probably attack pretty easily.
Yeah. Bring back Colin Healy. Benjamin Aurier, do you believe that Paul Lambert has a plan B? Should we go on a bad spell of form? I hate to be the pessimist. Don't worry, Benjamin. There's plenty of these kind of sentiments on the Twitter. But I could see a similar season to last year. Is there a plan B, guys? Because he's been so adamant about establishing the 4-3-3 and the pattern of play. Does he need to move away from that? And can he? It's a tricky one. Go on, Seb.
I mean, go on, Seb.
Both of you are struggling with that one.
Yeah, I mean, I am a bit. I mean, because it's been such a sort of radical departure. Apart from remember his sort of the game at Reading and stuff, where we suddenly had these split fullbacks and stuff. So I think it'll be a big departure if he suddenly ditches that now. That's obviously his mantra. And look, from me, he's got if as perhaps we think there may well be changes for Tuesday in the centre of defence, then he's going to bring in probably Wolfenden, who can play like that, and we might look much more comfortable playing that way.
The system isn't the issue, is it really?
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it's the personnel at the moment, and as you quite rightly said, Seb, Downs is I think a bit of a key miss at the moment. Certainly yesterday.
And also, I guess we've got to be fair to Lambert. He is missing Norwood, Jackson, Dry, and then he's missing potential game changers. I guess there might be an argument for somebody like a Dobra to come off the bench and provide a spark if needed. I think we have 3 defenders on the bench yesterday? We had McGuinness, Wolfenden, and Kenlock. So I didn't really understand that one. There are things going against him with the lack of strikers, but maybe just somebody like a Dobra for the last 20 minutes, somebody to run at people when they're tired and play with no fear, and like we saw in the EFL Cup and the EFL Trophy, can produce a moment of magic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to see him in the squad, I must admit.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's deal with this. We need to deal with this. Tony Staunton asks, how many penalties do you think Toto will give away by the end of the season? My estimate is about 8. And Ginger Eagle 73, I think we'll all agree Wolfie has to come in for Toto now, but what about Holy?
I was going to say he might not, if Wolfenden does come in for Toto, he might not get many more chances.
I was going to say he might not concede any more penalties.
No.
What? Yeah, your thought. Let me just any other questions we've got here. Yeah, your thoughts on Holy as well, though, because NCR surely has run out of chances now, has he?
Yeah, for me, NCR Wolfenden has to come in for NCR. And I guess for NCR, potentially now he's probably our 5th choice centre-back, because I guess maybe McGuinness might slightly move ahead of him in the queue. For me, for Holy, he's just not comfortable with the ball at his feet, is he? He can't do this short release kind of game that Lambert's asking him to do, and he does have the odd rick in him. I've not seen much of Cornell at all, apart from the Spurs pre-season friendly, but by all accounts he is better with the ball at his feet. So perhaps it is time to make a change.
Suits that. It just doesn't. He doesn't punch his weight. It doesn't, does he? I mean, he's so tall. That's why, again, the Lincoln Radio Links commentators were saying that first half. They said for a guy who's like 6'7", 6'8", he said he doesn't come for crosses.
No command,
does.
No.
He does no command at all, none at all. So I don't know. I think he'll stick with him for now. But it would have been interesting if that one had gone in that I said, the one where he kicks out and I think it was Anderson and he slid. In the end, he redeems himself well. I think if that had gone in, that might have been the final nail for him. But I think he'll stick with him. But I'd have said Wolfenden in for NCR on Tuesday.
MG Knots Blue tweets, Michael, Toto's a great bloke, but just has too many errors in him. Wolf, he has to come back in now, so frustrating. But he says, ponderous and completely ineffectual going forwards. Nolan back to playing like a slow crab, and the most desire he showed was the pathetic sending off. Dave, you and I have both been fairly united in our view that there's a player in Nolan.
Oh, yeah, there is.
He just doesn't show it enough, does he? And he was slowing us down yesterday, wasn't he?
Incredibly frustrating. He'll have the ball in quite a good position. He just doesn't quite move it quick enough, and he'll take that touch. And it all looks lovely, and he'll drop his shoulder, but he's dropping his shoulder for no reason, but in no areas where he's really hurting the opposition. Anyone can drop their shoulder and and lay off a 5-yard, 10-yard ball with like 10 yards of space, for goodness sake. He's extremely frustrating, and I think there is a player there, and there's a goal in him. We've seen that already this season, but again, yesterday I didn't see that. I must admit, I was out. I didn't watch the Doncaster game, but yesterday he just wasn't at it at all, was he? Not at all.
And just to supplement this as well, Peter Gerling here. What happened to our midfield three? So good early in the season, yet totally ineffective in the 2 games this week. Better opposition, predictable tactics,
and more
easier to prepare for.
More now,
a bit lightweight, overrun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're saying that's a factor, is it? Yeah.
And maybe tiring a bit as well. Dazell's not played a lot of football. Bishop's not played a lot of football. Nolan had that bad injury end of last season, so perhaps that comes into it as well.
Yeah, Peter
Dazell's
said
played every minute.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Dazell and Bish were strangely anonymous, and Nolan played 1-2s with Toto all game. I think there's something in there, isn't there? Here we go. Dave Gort, Paul Warner, Rotherham said it last season. You can't mount a promotion challenge if you lose 2 matches in a row. Momentum has now ground to a halt. Make or break. 8 days coming up for us now, I feel. Am I too early to call it that? Is it make or break, guys?
I think these next 2 games are really important, aren't they? Because they're obviously winnable games, although... this is such a Crew go and win at Doncaster, for God's sake, yesterday. But these are 2 very winnable games, particularly going into Sunderland next Tuesday, isn't it? So yeah, you really need to be. I'd say winning these next two games. Yeah, you don't want to be dropping points these two games. If you've got any real thought of sort of top six or beyond that, for me.
And Cornish Mariner Seb says, having played 2 more away games than home, are we still on? Having played 2 more away games than home, we are still on 2 points per game. Sorry, Andrew.
Okay, yeah.
Can we get 6 from the next 3? What do we need to do to beat one of the better teams? We kind of dealt with that, but next 2, are they at home?
Yeah,
so,
Gillingham
and
Crew at the weekend. Yeah, so
Crew.
I think we'll win both. I can see us winning both.
Yeah.
But then again, I can't see us beating Sunderland the following game. So it's crucial we do get some points on the board with these two, because if we are to, gate crash the playoffs or whatever, we're going to have to beat almost every single lower outside the top 6 kind of side, because we're not going to do anything against the ones that are in it. I think we'll get 6 points from these two, and everyone will be getting a little bit excited again. And I think we might come back down to earth with a bump against Sunderland.
Yeah, I think we've got to allow for that. So yeah, 6 points for these two, and then if it is we're so pessimistic, aren't we? If it is a narrow defeat at Sunderland, then it's okay. It's not totally the end of the earth, but at some point we've got to beat these sides. If you beat them at home,
played well. Yeah, if we played well against the top, if we played well away to, and it was a narrow defeat, we wouldn't be as pessimistic. But I mean, we were at Sunderland last February or January, whenever it was, and they played well in the first half, but didn't turn up in the second half.
We absolutely
never seem to put in a
first
good,
half, didn't we?
Yeah, but we just don't put in a good performance away at these.
I think it was the same at Portsmouth as well. I seem to remember. Same at Portsmouth, Oxford, I think as well. Yeah,
lots of 1-0s. Oh, hello. That's
hello.
They're always tight games, and we never have them going in our favour, do we? We make a bad decision, or we just look toothless up front.
I'm going to merge 3 questions into one as the phone rings at Diamond Towers. FEL Tractor. I saw a lot of positivity at 2 p.m. when the team was announced. Is this one on the players? Glory Days artwork. Why is our fortitude so weak? As soon as things don't go our way, we seem to self-destruct and defeat ourselves. And finally, Cornish Mariner again. Anyone know a decent sports psychologist? Milts was talking about Ken Way, was it? Ken Day? Possibly back. Does that name ring a bell for you, Dave?
Yeah. Back in the day, yeah.
Apparently, he's got this motivational Ken Way. This motivational video that apparently would let you, wind you up to run through brick walls. Is there something? We talked about the defeats to the big teams, and we kind of. That's possibly a lack of streetwiseness, but is there a mental thing here?
Even Sir Bobby all those years ago employed one of those. I think he was perhaps one of the first and brought it to the club. So, look, if it is I personally think, as we said earlier, it's perhaps a bit of a lack of quality when we come up against these teams. But yeah, it must be a bit of a mental thing in there as well.
Yeah.
It's just confidence, isn't it? As soon as we concede against a big boy, so to speak, it's game over.
Yeah.
Heads drop and we just regress.
Yeah.
So we need to do with Lambert. There's a lot of questions about Lambert. Rob Farmer, will happen first? Ipswich promotion or another pandemic? That's the spirit.
COVID-20.
Sean Young, even at this early stage of the season, what percentage of the fan base do you think is behind the management? And Rob Pooley, how long do you give Lambert before you give him the push? Tired of the same old excuses. Here we go. How on earth can Lambert say that we played incredible today? From Harry Butcher. James Lohman, how much evidence do we need that Lambert can't lead us to promotion? No wins last season or this so far against better teams in League One. Doesn't recognise the problem. System that plays to our weaknesses. Hope we focus on Lambert and real problems rather than deflect to ref and Nsiala. Guys, Lambert, where do we start? Who wants to go on this one?
Well, in some ways, he's getting a bit of he's lucky there's no crowds in the stadium. It reminds me, do you remember the first, the 17-18 season, mixed last season? We started really well and won 5 games, but it was always just an undercurrent, wasn't there? That any time it could easily tip back over. And I think if there were fans in the stadium, that is what would be happening right now. It's 2 years ago to the day. Stat put it out earlier. It's 2 years ago to the day that Hurst left, and obviously Lambert was appointed within 24 hours, I think it was. So would we sit here 2 years on, probably 90 odd games, 100 games maybe, and say we are any better than we were 2 years ago with him in charge? I don't think so.
No.
And
moved on. moved on at all.
Thomas Ebling's question. I understand it's only 2 losses, but considering the amount of fans now calling for change, who potentially would you like to see covered to replace Lambert if he does get the sack? You know, these questions, guys, we're going to get more and more of these. You know, if we don't beat Gillingham and or Crewe,
but how are we going to fire him? We gave him a 5-year contract. We can't afford to do anything.
We can't
afford to fire him. So
he's not going anywhere.
What do we do? You've got Paul Cook out of work, who I would take personally, but
Cook,
how are you going to pay off 4 years of Lambert's contract?
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
The only way it'll go, I guess, is if this season finishes and he is outside of the playoff pictures like last year, without COVID as an excuse. In theory, there might be a break release clause in the contract, but I think ideas of him going mid-season are a bit fanciful because I just can't see how we could possibly pay him off.
And he could have some credit in the bank, you know, win these next 2 games, and fans will probably be back on side anyway.
Yeah.
So such a fine line, but he's not going anywhere.
Mark Rogers, I know we have an expectation to be promoted, but when will our fans understand that individual mistakes happen? If we had a team of players who didn't make errors, they would be playing in the Championship. We are League One. Toto has stopped way more goals than caused this season. You know, there's something to be said for that as well. You know,
there is.
You know, we've got Lambert, who, you know, was his career was kind of dwindling a little bit after kind of. Go on, Dave.
I heard just before the Doncaster game, I heard Brenner Woolley and Graham Mack on Radio Suffolk, setting up, summarising the Doncaster upcoming game just before the game started on Radio Suffolk, and bigging up Enciala so much that Brenner Woolley was saying, well, if he keeps up this form, I'm really worried about Enciala because come Christmas and the January window, there'll be Championship clubs looking at him. And I said, yes, he's right. And in 2 games, you're never going to play for us again. It's so fickle. It's not to say a fine line, but that's the thing about Enciala. He's just got that in him, hasn't he? He's just got that, which is why I quite like that. I quite like watching him because you never really know. At least it keeps things interesting.
The trouble with Enciala is he's great in the air. You know, he's great at the kind of last cast tackle.
And actually, when he passes, yesterday, but I didn't think he had it in him, but a couple of crossfield balls and pings across and found his player. So he's got all the attributes. To me, he's very, very much like Titus Bramble. He's just got, obviously not quite in the same league as Titus Bramble, but has got you're just always on the edge with him. Whenever yesterday, you're watching the game yesterday and the ball's passed back to him, in our box or even just outside our 6-yard box, and he's got 10 or 20 yards to play. I'm still nervous. I'm still nervous. It's just, I don't know. Yeah.
And another one from Andrew Run Fatboy Run, the Alex Matthew curse. Discuss. He's been on commentary duties 2 games in a row.
He's doing Sunderland as well, isn't he? So that curse might continue for a little bit longer.
And the one he should have done, which he did, wasn't that? Was Blackpool, wasn't it?
Yeah, Neil Rimmer.
Yeah.
Getting back.
Yeah.
We'll end with this one from Will Airy. He was born in 96. All right, don't boast. So I don't remember the Premier League era. Please give me some hope that it will get better and not worse. But then he put us a smiley face emoji. I mean, it's kind of been pretty much consistently downhill. I don't think we can commit that it's not going to get worse. But is there any hope, guys? I mean, it's early in the season, isn't it?
It's early in the season, and 6 points, like Dave just said, it's very fickle. 6 points this week, it could all suddenly turn around, and we're all positive again. That's why we go to football. We're football fans for that reason, the ups and the downs. I appreciate if you're born in 96 and you missed the Premier season, then Christ, apart from Royal in 2005 and Mick in 2015, you've seen absolutely
he would have been
nothing.
9 for Joe Royal.
Yeah, you've seen absolutely nothing. So I pity
my youngest was born in '98, and that's all he's seen.
Arsenal in the League Cup.
Arsenal in the Cup,
14-15.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. Yeah.
So we won't make any promises, Will, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. We hope. That's the. I think I've dealt with all of the big stuff on the questions, and I did want to leave us with something that was a little bit more. A bit more positive, or at least light-hearted. So we'll do that. So thank you to everyone. There's some questions. There's loads of questions that I've not answered or asked. So apologies for that. But thank you for sending them in. They do help shape the debate. So please keep them coming in for next time. Let's deal with some. Let's deal with the rest of the rest of the fixtures in League One over the weekend. These COVID postponements are starting to creep in, though, guys.
Yeah.
Accrington, Bristol Rovers, and Oxford,
Swindon.
Yeah. It's going to happen at some point, isn't it?
Yeah.
We need to get these games in and as soon as possible and pick up these 2 wins this week and then points per game. But
I will.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
looking for
the
positives.
Pandemic might cause us to
Mathematics is your hope, Will. And also, here's also some hope, which was the hope after Doncaster. Was Hull City lost 4-1, and look at them. Well, Hull City lost again yesterday, but they lost to Peterborough United. And guys, it's a little bit ominous, isn't it? 4 and 5 goals this is for Johnson Clark-Harris, and Dembele, albeit with a fortunate deflection, is also scoring. Peterborough are on a bit of a charge now, aren't they? A little bit of a march. I'll deal with Gillingham at the end. We'll come back to them because we're there next. Blackpool 1, MK Dons 0. Shout out if there's anything exciting that you want to add into these. Burton 1, Wimbledon 1. Shake of the head from Seb. Donny, of course, follow up their dominant 4-1 victory over Ipswich by losing to Crewe at home, who hadn't won in the league away so far. But a lovely free kick from Harry Pickering in this one, who I think's a fullback. So, Crewe get their first away win, and Doncaster come back to earth with a bump, proving that maybe there was a bit of a fluke on Tuesday night. Northampton 0, Charlton 2. Charlton also started to get up to speed, also have a game in hand because they did the international postponements. Shrewsbury 1, Rochdale 2. Guys, Sunderland 1, Portsmouth 3. The first defeat, the first goals conceded in open play in the league. And is Kenny Jackett out of the woods a little bit of a slow start?
A little bit. Did it last year as well, didn't they? Started really slowly and then hit a run of form, so maybe history's going to repeat itself. That's a big win away at Sunderland.
Oh yeah, they're like 2 points behind us. I think that was in. I saw that on the EFL where they were aided and abetted somewhat for the first goal by Grant Ledbetter.
Oh, it was It was Dazelle-esque in that chance for Grant, wasn't it? Only then it led to the goal. I'll give you the league table positions in a second. Finish on Wigan 1, Plymouth 1. A first goal for Will Keane, gents. Nice little header from across.
Yeah, saw that.
So good for him. We'll keep an eye on the Will Keane because we've got plenty of Will Keane love on the old Twitter. Lincoln are top, guys, by a point after that one. 19 points with Peterborough in second in 18. Hull third also on 18. Ipswich in fourth. We are 16 points. Pompey fifth with 14. Sunderland sixth, also 14, but a game in hand. As do Donny, as do Charlton, who are just outside the playoffs. So this top 8 doesn't really strike me as particularly surprising. Can we hang around? That's the big question, isn't it? Fleetwood just outside after their impressive last season, but they are 12th and only 10 points so far. But yeah, that's quite an ominous top 8, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, the usual suspects are starting to show up, aren't they? Some are starting to hit form. Yeah. Some have been there all along in the likes of Hull, and it's starting to take shape a little bit now.
It is.
Yep.
So next up, I mean, the first bit of action that we need to get our heads around, guys, is the FA Cup first round draw. Just a reminder that we're in the third tier and we get chucked into the first round. Ball number 24, is that lucky for any of either guys? 24
means nothing to me. Just a bit unfortunate. Just right, getting quite deep into the second half in both games yesterday. Berry Town and Leiston were doing well, were winning, and both got pipped. That was a shame.
We all kind of conceded at the same time, didn't we?
Yeah,
maybe Banbury took
yeah, we did. Yeah,
won it a little bit late.
Wasn't it? Yeah,
Barnet.
We did. So that was a bit.
There are some local sides in it that we could face. Like Malden and Tiptree are in it, Canvey Island and Kings Lynn. So
yeah, I saw Malden were in it. Yeah, Kings Lynn. Oh, that's Culverhouse, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll clearly get Fleetwood or Sunderland away because obviously, it's us. So it'd be nice to get one of those bit of difference for a change. Would be nice, wouldn't it?
When I spoke, I've kept in touch. I've kept in touch with Tommy Miller after I spoke to him in the back in the summer. And
he's still got his Audi TT.
Audi TT, and he was they Spennymoor Town unfortunately had a very tough away draw and got knocked out at Chester. I think, to be fair, I think that was a round before this one, like about 10 days ago. And then they beat them in the league, but because he was hoping, I was sort of kidding him. I said, get through first round, but come back to Portman Road. I said he'd love it, but I think he said he'd drive there in his Audi TT if they did, but sadly didn't make it.
But it doesn't really matter who we are we going to take it seriously. I guess It's a difficult. Well, maybe this is one to talk about on the live show midweek. We'll do the plugs in a minute.
I think we lost it. We won. We also beat Lincoln last year. We actually won a cup, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then back down to earth.
And then probably the most depressing game I saw all season was the Coventry replay. Oh, for God's sake! It was a filthy night and a filthy performance. Honestly. Dear.
So we'll see what happens after that. And as I said, there will be a live show after Gillingham on Tuesday. Gillingham are our opponents on Tuesday. We mentioned them. Let me tell you about Gillingham. They hit the woodwork twice. Yes, on Saturday before Fleetwood obviously then took the lead. And Ogilvy, I think one of their fullbacks, got sent off. Second bookable offence. 3 2-0 defeats in a row for Gillingham. And along come Ipswich, guys. So this will obviously be a 0-0 draw or a Gillingham win. Now, are you feeling confident for this one? Any predictions? They're 14th, by the way.
I think we'll win. I'm going to go 2-0 like we were sort of doing at the start of the season. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win and a bit of confidence before Crewe on Saturday.
Yeah, I think I'd go with that. I mean, I think you'll see obviously a much changed Gillingham side to what we saw in the cup game a few weeks ago. I think it was very radical changes, wasn't it? And
but Kindi up front, he played then, and he'll probably play, I guess, maybe
Dominic Samuel.
He's still and Jordan Graham. I think
he started quite well. Graham had started quite well.
He was top goal scorer, wasn't he? He was top goal scorer with Edwards a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
So but like Seb said, I think we'll beat them. We'll beat them and Crewe, and things will look a lot better. And you've got a little bit of a buffer there going into that tricky game at Sunderland, haven't you?
Oh, there you go. Well, there's your positivity. Will it will get better this week? Just ask Seven, Dave. So you,
when we're sitting here next Sunday, or someone who's ever sitting here next Sunday after a defeat and a draw, then okay.
Lambert out every tweet. Yeah, well, Mikey will be back next week. I don't know who is on with him, so good luck, Mikey. And there will be a live show after post-match Dilling, which we're trying to do this season, and I think that will be Ben and Joe. So make sure you join them and ask plenty of questions, give them a like and all that kind of stuff. You can find all the details on our Twitter at Blue Monday ITFC, on our YouTube, on our Facebook, on our Instagram. All the links you can find in various places. Guys, anything to plug? Any Twitters that you want to let people know about, or are you quite happy to keep your opinions to yourselves?
I haven't really, but do you know what? I think this is for Will. And when I was waiting for you, I was actually on time for once. I was early for once, which I'm never early.
Ready when you are, Rich.
Never. So I was sort of going for the array of my Ipswich books and stuff up there. I've got like a bookshelf up there, and in amongst them, this is for Will. I pulled that out. Sorry, Will.
Program.
Sorry, Will. Sorry, mate.
Those of you listening to it on the podcast, yeah.
Wow.
That
was the evening we beat Barcelona 3-0 at Portman Road, and just looking through the Barcelona team. Number 9, Cruyff, and number 6, Naskins, so quite useful. Those really were the days, Will. There you go, mate. There you go.
I'll dig out my Inter Milan programme in a few weeks' time. That's my peak moment, I think.
Yeah.
Was that the game where BT came back? They kind of chucked him in.
No, it was, what a season. So it was 77-78, so that was November 77, and one of the games where Beattie shouldn't have played, but obviously was rushed back into play, I believe. I'm pretty sure he did. Maybe not, actually.
Okay, maybe I've got the wrong year.
Possibly.
Got the wrong year. Well, there you go. There's a lovely blast of the past and a positive way to end. Last word for someone. Go on, Dave, you can do the last word.
Well, if we were doing this week, I'll just quickly, if I can just regress back to the program, and this is a sort of era we were in, because this is a feature that we used to do. Me and Stat used to do on the much maligned This Week in ITFC, ITFC history. And if I can just give to you, this is a sign of the times. Live on stage, November the 29th at the Gaumont was one Gary Glitter. Anyway, we'll leave it. Let's leave it there.
This sound indicates an important